Hello, and welcome to Renew, the show by the College of Forest Resources. The College of Forest Resources works to utilize, manage, and sustain our natural resources. Today, we're talking with forestry professor, Dr. Robert Gralla. Welcome, Dr. Gralla.
Hello, Karen. It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you for coming. And you're a forest economist, so can you tell us a little bit about what you do in the Department of Forestry?
Yes, so as you mentioned, I am professor in the Department of Forestry at Mississippi State University. I have a split teaching research appointment. I teach two courses. One is a forest resource economics, and the other one is advanced forest economics. So they are geared towards undergraduate and graduate students. I conduct research in forest resource economics, and over the years, I have been involved in several projects that relate to ecosystem services, carbon sequestration, business patterns in the forestry sector, utilization of woody biomass for bioenergy purposes, and also wildfires. In addition to that, I'm a faculty advisor to the student chapter of the Society of American Foresters.
Okay, a forest economist. We've heard of economists in all different fields. Tell us a little bit about what a forest economist does.
So forest resource economics is an interesting subject. It's a very complex one and very often interdisciplinary. It looks at different interactions. It looks at the allocation of forest resources and interactions between humans and forests. And it is an important subject because, as you know, our population is growing over time, and there's an increasing demand on various forest goods and services and functions. So in addition to that, forest resource economics looks at the ways in which we can manage our forest resources in a sustainable manner to ensure that they are available in the future for the next generations.
Okay, and when you say ecosystem services, that's a pretty big word. What does that exactly mean?
So while it seems a very complex word, it really refers to any goods and services that people can obtain from natural ecosystems. In terms of forestry, that would be forest ecosystems. So in some cases, those are the goods and services that we use every day. So in terms of forestry, that would be, for example, timber or recreation. In terms of agriculture sector, that would be food. So we know those goods and services pretty well. But some of them are not as apparent to us, and they may include clean air, clean water, carbon sequestration, wildlife habitat, or biodiversity. And what happens that many of those ecosystem services are non-market. What it means, they are not traded in the market, there are no prices attached to them, and while they are very important to the human well-being, it's very difficult to express their contribution to that well-being. So one of my tasks or one of my research subjects that I'm focusing on is to put monetary value on those non-market ecosystem services.
That's interesting. And also you serve as the faculty advisor to the MSU student chapter of the Society of American Foresters, which has actually been ranked in the top 3 for 19 years running. What do you attribute such great success of that student chapter?
So there are several factors that contribute to their success, and the first one is students. They are very active, they are involved in many activities, whether that's at the community level, at the university, college, or departmental levels, and they are also very active professionally. But what's also very important is that within the department and college, we cultivate that idea of professionalism, and we expect students to adhere to that tradition. And so they have been very active, and William Griffin, who is a SAF student chapter president, will talk more about what they do. But another important aspect of that is that every year you have a new generation of students, and the previous generation set very high standards. So every new generation of students, they try to adhere or beat that standard. So that's why they are very active, and they are very successful. And they're successful also because we have a lot of support from the department, from the college, and from the university.
I see you've got some awards here, so you'll be receiving an award pretty soon.
Yes.
Is that right?
We have a group of students that will attend the SAF National Convention in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and they will accept the award for the 3rd place this year.
Very nice. First place in the nation, right?
Yes. So every year, a Society of American Foresters, they have a competition for the most outstanding SAF student chapter. And chapters are being evaluated in many different terms. Some of those is membership criteria, their service to the profession, their service to the department, university, and the college, and also their service to the community.
Great. Well, we look forward to having William on the show in the next segment. And thank you so much for being with us. We'll be right back in just a few moments.
Discovery. It tells our history and determines our future. At Mississippi State University, we're digging deep, unlocking an understanding of our past, validating it. Middle East exploration by faculty and students is uncovering evidence that unravels ancient mysteries. Scholars have long thought of the biblical kings David and Solomon as mythological figures. Our research offers evidence that supports their existence, boosting MSU into an international league of experts on archaeology. Now we're changing the way people think about the past, opening up new possibilities of understanding for future generations. Digging deeper, learning more.
Welcome back to Renew. We now have William Griffin, a senior forestry major from Jackson, Mississippi. Welcome, William.
Thank you. It's glad to be here.
So, William, you are the president of the MSU student chapter of the Society of American Foresters. Right. Tell me a little bit about your organization.
So, the student chapter of SAF is actually Mississippi State's student chapter of a national organization, the Society of American Foresters. I don't know the most recent numbers, but there are approximately 10,000, in the range of 10,000 members nationwide, and that it ranges from a statewide chapter to a local chapter, which may be made up of a few counties, and as well as university chapters. So there are SAF chapters for the other forestry schools around, such as Auburn, Louisiana Tech, Georgia, just to name a few that are around here. And we really just try to promote, being active in your community and being professional and networking. We try to provide networking opportunities, and the larger chapter does a lot more. They do things like research and things like that. But we really focus in the student chapters on things like networking, community service, and professional development.
So from a student's perspective, especially a forestry student or any natural resource student, right, why would you want to be in the student chapter of the Society of American Foresters?
Well, for one, it's a professional club or organization that's directly tied to your major. So we all, enjoy doing the same things. We all have kind of the same mindsets, and we're all interested in the same things and have a generally common goal. So one big thing about our chapter is that we offer a lot of opportunities for students to interview and speak to companies. So we have companies that come almost every week to interview and talk to our students about what they offer. You have companies as big as Weyerhaeuser, and then you have the smaller companies that are maybe only in one state. So we really try to focus a lot on that. But we also have community service that we do periodically, and other networking opportunities such as traveling to State Forestry Association meetings and things like that.
So tell me a little bit about your community service activities for the organization.
Yeah, so in the past and this year too, we've been involved with things like Habitat for Humanity, which builds a house for a community member in the Octavia County area, the Golden Triangle area every year. We've been involved with Mississippi Forestry Association, doing some things in collaboration with them. Just last weekend, we were down in Jackson helping run a booth at the Mississippi Science Fest, which was a festival put on by the LaFleur's Museum Group about basically stressing the importance of STEM education. So that was a lot of fun. We do things like a highway cleanup every year. And just various other activities as where people ask us or we find the opportunities. We really do anything.
That's great. And for fun, I understand that you all participate in Forestry Conclave.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about Conclave.
Right. So Conclave it's funny because Conclave is what we do for fun, but I think a lot of people think that's what we do for our jobs. You know, at Conclave, we're traveling to a school, and Conclave is actually more closely tied to the Forestry Club. SAF and the Forestry Club, essentially the same members, the same meeting, but two different organizations. It gets there's a lot of crossover there, but anyway. So the Southern Association of Forestry Clubs puts on the Conclave every year, and we will travel to that school and compete in various physical activities like crosscut saw, bow sawing, pole felling, pole climbing. There's one where you have to scale I think it's a 40-foot pole bare hands, you know, no ropes, no anything. And then there's technical events as well. So dendrology, which is the study of trees. Photogrammetry, which involves a lot of aerial imagery interpretation, so there's really something for everybody at Conclave. It's a really fun event. It's really good to see how other forestry schools are do things and think of things, and it's just usually a really fun time. It's in Georgia this year.
Okay.
At ABAC. I don't know the name of that school, but
okay.
Yeah, the technical name, sorry.
Well, you brought a few pictures. Let's look at those real quick. Tell us a little bit about each picture.
Okay, so this is at the Wood Magic Science Fest, and I think what they're doing there is showing the kids, you can see in the foreground, some sawn lumber that's come off of a Wood-Mizer saw, which is basically a portable sawmill. And there's two of our now graduated members who are helping at Habitat for Humanity. Looks like they're putting up some framing or something. And that is an event we did with some local Boy Scouts. It looks like, I think they got their tree identification badge for that. And just a group picture from that same event. That's what that is. And this was a more recent photo. And that is actually of the Project Learning Tree. How do I say this? The Mississippi Forestry Association has a program called Project Learning Tree, where they basically teach professors or young students about natural resources, and that's what we were helping with there. And this is from a Conclave practice we had recently, and that's from the log burling event, which is where you run on a log in the water and try to stay afloat.
All right, thank you so much, William, and Dr. Robert Gralla for being here today. I'm your special host, Karen Brazier. Hopefully next time Leslie Berger will be here. And thank you for tuning in to Renew. Just to remind you, get outside when you have a chance and enjoy our natural resources. Thank you.